Hey there, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Jamie, and we're your co-hosts for Two Clicks in a Pod.
Join us as we explore our missed times, stories, and memories due to divorce and a 1,000-mile separation.
I can't wait. You ready to get into it, Kev?
I am. Hey, Jamie, you think they're going to swear?
Oh, yeah. Consider yourselves warned. Hey there, hi there, ho there.
Hey, I'm here. How the hell
This
are
is
you?
Jamie.
Yep,
I'm
this
great.
is Click One, Kevin.
Click two. Coming
Man,
at you.
I saw the new T-shirt design. That looked awesome.
I know, I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like
Big shout
that.
out to Kelsey Webb for our Christmas gift. Kelsey designed a T-shirt for Dad and I for Click One and Click Two. So we're pretty excited about that. Gonna roll out some personal merch and some shareable merch in the near future. So that'll be exciting to share with everybody once we have that.
Oh yeah.
2025, Dad.
Yeah, everybody they can't wait for that to hit. I'll bet you. It'll be flying off the shelves.
I bet
Pick
we'll
it
have
up
to,
on by the end of the year. You can find them on Tuesday morning.
Oh, the store Tuesday morning.
Yeah, all the, or better yet, Big Lots.
I was gonna say, you know what we have up here in PA? We have Ollie's. Do y'all have Ollie's in Tennessee?
I think we do.
Their slogan is "Good stuff, cheap."
I wonder if that's even true. You know,
I don't know. I mean, I will say that every time I go into I feel like you would really like an Ollie's. It's kind of like a Big Lots. Every time I go into an Ollie's, I just me, I get very excited. I'm like, this is only $2, and it's something I don't need, but because it's, only whatever price it is, I have to have it. So maybe one day our merchandise will be in an Ollie's.
Yeah.
I doubt that.
There's all kinds of things, you don't think much about $2 anymore, but it was funny when I was at Shane's over December. Tate was all excited about the $2 bill again. He wondered if he could find a $2 bill. He was intrigued about that for some reason. So,
I've got one. Does he not have one?
I think Shane said he had one somewhere. I told him I have a couple of them. So
Have you ever tried to spend a $2 bill?
I have not, but that was Tate's question. What do you get when you spend one? And he was hoping it was $10,000 because it was rare.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's not like a Mickey
Might as
Mantle
well have
baseball
eight.
card.
Might as well have 8 quarters.
Yeah. I've always Stu's dad would always give us $2 bills. Like that was his thing. He would have those and he would give those to us. And obviously we held on to them because they were rare. But I always thought like, well, I wonder what would happen if I spent this. Like they would take it, right? Because it's money.
They should. Yeah, no
Right.
doubt.
Yeah. I'm especially laughing about all this right now because I came home the other day and well, I didn't realize this, but Monica came down, Chris's mom came down to visit the Friday after the holidays. And I had to work that day, so I didn't really get to spend a lot of time with her and catch up. And so she ended up leaving. And then that night I ended up meeting up with some friends like right after work was done. So I didn't really look around the house much is my point. So the next morning I get up and I go into my office and there's these 2 banker's boxes full of sports memorabilia.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Specifically hundreds of baseball cards and these little sports figurines still in the packaging, like the baseball players in the motion.
Yeah.
Football players. And again, they're in my office. And I looked at Chris and I said, what is all this? What is this? And he goes, oh, Mom, remember Mom's been telling us that she had all of my baseball cards up in the attic. And I go, okay. And he's like, so she brought them down for me. I go, what are we going to do with all these baseball cards? Because, we have very little space in our house. And I got very anxious because I'm like, they're just going to sit in my office in these boxes. And he's like, I'm going to go through them and I may sell them. I'm like, really? You're going to take the time to go through this and open an eBay account and start selling baseball cards? And maybe. So, fast forward to a couple days ago, I bought Parker some hockey cards.
Uh-huh.
And as I'm going through those and opening them with him, he's getting all excited. He pulled an Ovechkin card, which was pretty cool. He's pretty stoked about that. Not like it's a rookie card or anything, but whatever. And and so I'm sitting there unboxing 100 hockey cards, and it hit me like, what the hell is wrong with you? You just lost your mind like 5 days ago about all these baseball cards, and here you bring home a pack of 100 hockey cards for Parker to just throw in a binder. So I said to him, he's like, was excited going through them with me. I said, just think, hun, one day you'll get to take these to your son's house or daughter's house and just annoy their spouse because they will now be burdened with all your shit.
Well, here's the takeaway on that. Number one, you have to buy the plastic card covers.
I have those. The hard plastic for the binder. He's got the binders, and then he's got hard for the really good ones.
If he's going to sell them, he's going to have to individually wrap them and kind of somehow identify them, and better yet, pretend like they're in mint condition, and then take 25 photos of every corner, front and back, and the printed lettering to make sure that, a Coca-Cola hasn't made it run, and then try to sell it for 58 cents. Exactly. But think about that. 50 cents for 100 cards is $50.
Chris has the long tubes that were in cardboard boxes. He has, I bet there's 5 of those unopened, just full of baseball cards that he never opened because solely for the purpose that one day they may be worth something. So what I'm hoping is that there's a couple places around here, that do all that stuff that we can just walk in with these boxes and be like, here, what can you give us for all? I don't know. We'll see what happens, but
tell him he needs to run down a pawn, PAWN store, not a PORN store. A pawn store.
Not a porn store? Yeah. Oh my God. Did we ever tell you, just real quick, because this came up today, I have to tell you this. When we lived in Dallas, remember we had direct TV. So we had satellite television, and it had the porn channel. Not that we had the porn channel, but you had the porn channel that you could buy the movie. And one day it's like me and Chris and Shane all sitting around watching TV, and we're going through the guide, and we passed the porn channel. And I want to say it was Shane. It may have been Chris. I don't remember. That was like, oh my God. And they're like, look at the title of the upcoming movie. And it was called Sayonara Tight Hole.
Oh, Lordy.
And
Lordy.
I mean, we just died. I mean, and to this day, it's still a ongoing inside joke between, us. But anyways, you said porn. It made me think of that because when we went sledding today, Parker went down the hill and he looked at me and went, sayonara. And so, of course, Jess was standing right next to me. I said, I got to tell you this story. So I had to tell her about the, sayonara tight hole. And anyways, I really went down the lane there.
Well, back to just to close out the baseball trading cards. I mean, I had somebody give me, I don't remember who it was, when I was in Mishawaka. So I was young, still in grade school, but somebody gave me like 4 of those big shoe box, the double, not the single sneakers, but the double shoe boxes full of just old trading cards. I mean,
and they may actually be worth something.
Well, they definitely sure would be worth something today. At
Yeah.
that point in time, I don't know that was before even anything like that had any value other than the nickel you paid for getting a pack of them. But these things were, I mean, they were probably a generation before. And I say maybe not a generation, but somebody else's parent had them for sure. It was an adult that gave them to me. Um, but just going through those, and then better yet, Chris probably would remember, but maybe he wouldn't. But in that point in time, you had a baseball board game that you played, and you would pick your players, you'd pick your roster, and it would have a card, and it would identify, the stats of what their batting averages were and their strikeouts and all that stuff. So you would try to assemble a team that looked good on paper, and then on this board game, you would spin the arrow, and it would indicate whether you got a single, triple, double, or an out. And you advance these players around, and you would play innings of baseball doing that. Anyway, that was I can't believe that is one of my favorite childhood board games. Um, but those cards just got to be a burden of, what am I going to do with them? I really don't know what to do with them. And they sat around, and I'd pull them out, and when I got my rosters and put my cards together, I'd go find the trading card and put it right there next to them and jack with them that way. But it just seemed like they weren't bringing any flavor or fun to me. I loved
Yeah.
having them, but
Yeah.
so I gave them away. Being the good little boy that I was. We went up to Chicago and
Oh man.
made a trip up there to see some of the nuns that were teaching in the grade school were from Chicago. Sister Colette was one of them. Anyway, we went up to Chicago, and I think we visited her. I don't know if it was her parents' home. We visited her in Chicago, and she took us to a orphanage.
Mm.
And I knew I was going to that orphanage, and I dragged those boxes of cards with me, and I gave them away to some kid that I just picked out that thought it would brighten his day. And it did.
And your
He
and
just
your
lit
heart
up
grew three
it up
sizes that day.
it, as a little kid. Yeah. I don't know. Probably, I don't know how, fourth or fifth grade, maybe. I don't remember. But man, I've always said I gave those daggone things away, and kind of like Chris, what would they be worth today?
Well, and you were pretty young to get. I mean, you think about that. Parker's 8 right now, going to be 9, and he wouldn't give his cards away right now. No way. And I would hope not, because I just invested, $30 in a whole new set of 100. God
Well, it's
help
funny
me.
you mentioned that, because I didn't know if they were even popular. But Tate bought it. We were in Walmart, and Shane, we were getting ready to check out, and Tate wanted to get a pack of cards, and Shane bought him a package of.
Yeah.
I think they were
No, Park still likes them.
basketball cards. Yeah.
He does. He primarily does hockey and football cards. Parker
Mm.
loves his football too. So, and he's like the Rain Man of football stats. It's really crazy. Like, he knows everybody and their percent. It's crazy. But
Mm.
anywho, um, so yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. I wanted to just share with you that we all survived the stomach bug real quick. God, what a nightmare. But that hit the Edwards household at the end of the year of the 2024 year, and heading into 25 with a different mindset for sure. Coming out of that horror, it was absolute horror. But yeah. Any big news you want to share?
No, not really anything big. It's good to be home after being gone for a number of weeks. And there's that Suzanne girl. So just got home, and was good to walk through the house and see the Christmas tree. She came in first and had the Christmas tree lit up, and it's still in full view right here outside the office. And she did that while I was gone down there without her. And
Yeah.
so we're sitting in here to enjoy at least this week of the gnomes around the fireplace and fire, and the freaking temperatures below 20 here in the next few days in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah,
It's
we got
cold, cold,
got some
cold, cold.
got some snow today. Did a little sledding with the kids, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was good. It was good. Um, just look, I'm very I'm excited about being in a new year. Ending up the year feeling literally getting sick and just having a body cleanse. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that one
I
was free.
free,
Yeah,
free baby. I
that was
was
free.
laying there, so that was on a Sunday, laying in bed just miserable, and I wanted to do dry January. So that's a very common thing, nothing new, but I said I'm going to do dry January. And Chris is like, "Well, what about my birthday? Cuz his birthday is January 20th. You're not going to if we go out, you're not going to." I said, "Well, I'll do mostly dry January, or I'll go out for your birthday and just not drink. TBD on that still." But so on that Sunday when I was done being sick but still feeling sick, I mean, I didn't want anything, and I most certainly didn't want any alcohol. So I kicked off my dry January even before I had to.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, I've been rolling strong with that and taking that into the new year to just kind of reset and revive my body a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I told Shaner, I was telling him about, we were catching up and told him it had kickstart my dry January. He said, yeah, he said, I probably went a little too hard 2 times and, harder than I needed to recently 2 times. And I was like, yeah. And I started thinking, I said, Shane, I think I've had an alcoholic beverage. I bet I drank of the 31 days in December. I bet I drank 25 of them. And he was like, he just went, damn. And I'm like, not like I was heavily drinking all those times, but even
Uh-huh.
if I had like a glass at the end of the day, I know for sure I probably did literally 25 of the 31 days of December.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
Yeah, we said the same thing that when we were in Florida, of course, being down there for a few weeks and Suzanne up here teaching school, she wasn't there. So I was pretty good about just getting through the work day and did mostly that's about what I did during a day. Just a lot going on and trying to get organized for the upcoming year. But I'd crack a bottle of wine open closer to her getting there and um, take some liberties with that. But then we got past Christmas and closer to New Year's, and we said, okay, well, New Year's Eve we'll go out, and we went and had a great time on New Year's Eve, but nothing real fancy, but just a good time in a really cool spot. But anyway, so come the first, I said, okay, it's the first, we're going dry, and so it's the first, we're sitting around and we get up. We were doing really good working out throughout the whole time frame, hitting the workouts that I've got on my schedule. I did really good with that. Eating not so good, drinking not so good, but still maintained within. Came back 3 pounds heavier than I left, so not bad there. But got our fair share. Even got our fair share of drinking in the first 4 days of January. So we
that's all right.
we made it back on Saturday, and we shared a bottle of red wine on Saturday night with dinner, and that was kind of
Mm-hmm.
the end of it for now until now and for
Until Chris's birthday.
I guess till Chris's birthday. Yeah.
Well, we had said that we wanted to, being that this is our first episode of the new year, talk a little bit about our own personal, goals,
Sure.
intentions. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought, you and I talked the other day. I said, I'm going to write them down. I'm going to really sit down, start thinking about this. And you said the same. And when I started thinking about that, my mind went to, well, when did this whole thing of New Year's resolutions come to play, like come to become a thing?
Yeah.
So I did a little, Googling, little
Mm-hmm.
diving on the old internet machine. And I thought I'd share this with you. So if you guys can humor me, I'm going to take us on a little history lesson. Are you up for that?
Yeah, just like you call me out that it's not a podcast, it's the pod. It's not the internet machine. It's called AI.
AI. Well, I tell you, I was a big user of AI for this. So, which I love AI. I love that Chat GPT.
Well, we've
Um,
had AI for a long time. It's called
well,
Google.
Google is AI. I know, learning all these things. But, anyways, all right. So, here's the lesson, Dad. Here's what I learned. Here's your history lesson to start off the new year. The
Okay.
practice of making New Year's resolutions dates back, I am reading this, 4,000 years to the ancient Babylonians. And they considered to be the first people that recorded celebrations for the new year. So their New Year's festival was called, and I may not say this right, Akatu, and it was celebrated in mid-March during the spring equinox, which marked the beginning of the new agricultural cycle. So obviously, these are farmers and living off the land. So they're
Yeah.
following that cycle. So during this festival, the Babylonians made promises to their gods to pay off debts and return things, borrowed items, a form
Uh-huh.
of resolution intended to earn favor in the coming year. So the idea of making promises or resolutions for self-improvement or atoning for past wrongs came into play and obviously deeply rooted in religious practices. Now,
I have a question.
yeah, what do you have so far?
What's up with New Year's being celebrated in March? It's kind of like your question with regards to Jesus not being born on Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. All right, so we're going to get to that. Well, again, because they're following the spring equinox. Now,
Okay, okay.
like anything in life and over thousands of years, the concept of New Year's resolutions evolved over time. And a big change in marking this was the adoption of the Julian calendar back in 45 BCE by the Romans. So it was at that time that New Year's was placed on January 1st in honor of Julius Caesar. So the Romans started this, celebrating the start of the new year by making promises to the god Janus, and that was the god of
Oh,
beginnings and transitions, from which the month January gets its name. So you get January from the god Janus. Now, these promises, were often related more to moral improvement and better conduct. So over time, practices
of
of setting,
course.
of course, because these are, back in the day, that's all we thought about was,
That was
religion,
that
conduct,
was
moral compass,
that was
moral.
that was that was BPC.
What's that?
Before porn channel.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Sayonara resolutions. Yeah.
Hey,
That's great.
what's up with the BCE? What does the E
I don't know.
stand for?
I was just going to ask you if you knew what that meant. I did not
I've,
AI
I've,
that, so
I've
I'll
seen
do
that. I've seen them label that before, but
Yeah, let's look that up. So, okay, so obviously over time, the practices of setting resolutions became more secular, but the tradition of reflection and goal setting at the start of the new year has been a consistent thing in part of our cultural practices around the world. Now, this is what I thought was interesting because, of course, I was like, all right, that's how it came about. But I wanted to know some stats on people setting resolutions. So, in our current day culture, approximately 40% of people in the United States set New Year's resolutions each year. So that's interesting to know.
I'm surprised it's that low.
Yeah, I mean, I think it says a lot about our it says a lot about our culture, and like people are basically like, I'm not going to set myself up for failure. I'll just keep down this path, and I may be a train wreck, but at least I'm not going to like disappoint myself,
Yeah,
right? I don't know.
not coming off the rails. Yep, I hear you.
Not coming off the rails, but so obviously resolutions are used for individuals to have an opportunity for reflection, goal setting, and resolutions tend to be set with a firm decision to do or to not do something, leaving little wiggle room and margin for error. So if you follow the resolution, then you succeed. And if you don't, you fail. So it's like pass fail scenario here. And here's the next stat for you. So it's because of that, you either do it or you don't, that apparently approximately 80% of people fail to keep their resolutions by the second week of February. What do you think about that? I mean, like, do
Well,
you think it would be farther along, like further along, or less time? I kind of felt like I would have said by the end of January.
well, I don't think there's the big difference between that and the 1st of February, but I would have thought.
Well, second week of February. I mean, it's 6. Think about it.
Okay.
It's 4 weeks versus 6 weeks.
Well, I've heard that stat, or I've heard that talk, being around some of these gym people that we've grown up around, but
Yeah.
that everybody falls off and falls out, kind of the first middle part of February. So they hit it hard that month of January, and then it's just not habit enough in order to keep it going, I guess. But
yeah,
I think that's interesting. Number one, so we got 80% of that 40%,
right,
that
failed.
have failed, which leaves 20% of the population in the mix, which is pretty good.
Yeah, but it's even just like you hear the word fail, and like when you start a new year and you try to you're coming in it with all this optimism and you want to do these things to better yourself or learn something or improve or whatever it may be, and then right off the bat you're like, I failed. So it's with this mentality, I think, that I don't know if you've heard this, but a couple years ago in my friend circle, we started saying stuff about setting intentions rather than resolutions. And so an intention is a practice that requires you to be present, in the present, living in the present, rather than stuck in the past or too focused on the future. So it's something that you aim for, like an idea, a concept that you're trying to carry out or embody in your current everyday life. So
Okay.
an intention is meant to be more open-ended, more vague, allowing that wiggle room that your resolution doesn't have, for a little room for grace, for growth, to define, some actions that may come along the way as you're working through these, maybe your larger goal.
Yeah.
And so I like the idea of an intention rather than a resolution. And the other thing that I read, and I liked this statement, and you kind of hit on this a little bit by like, well, why March? Why not January? And I read this and I like this. And it says, while many consider the beginning and the end of the calendar year to be January 1st and December 31st, respectively, it doesn't need to be looked at in that way. The difference between December 31st and January 1st is the same as any other day to the next. Every day is a chance to make a change and start working toward a healthier, happier life. And I liked that. Right?
Yeah, that is
I mean,
good.
I know we all use this date of January 1, and I'm doing it as well. But I read that, I was like, that's so true. It's just the changing of a day as any other day. So, yeah, a little bit of background on the difference between resolutions and intentions. And I had said to you, like, hey, let's set our personal intentions and let's share them on 2 clicks. And because one, I think when you put anything out into the universe, it does kind of make it more real. And also, I'm asking you, maybe we hold each other a little, not accountable, because again, this isn't a pass fail thing, but just something we can share with how we're doing over the course of this year of 2025. So what do you think about that? Are you good with that?
I think I'm fine with that. Going back to resolution and intention, though, I'm curious. So thinking about your dry January, that's pretty intentional. And when I say intentional, because it's a short window of time, I consider a month a pretty short window of time. Some people would say a week is a shorter window of time. Some people would say a day is a shorter period of time. Yeah. So if you were an alcoholic and you said, well, I'm just going to stop drinking. an intention would be to say, well, let me get through January, see how I
right.
do.
Or I'm gonna
Better yet,
I
with an
intend to
alcoholic, I'm going to
reduce.
get, yeah,
Yeah.
or I intend to reduce. I intend to at least try
Yeah.
to get, 4 days out of 7 where I'm not drinking.
Right.
So,
And they said, so they say
or
that
if
they
you're somebody,
say
you don't have to be an alcoholic. You can just be somebody that likes to drink. So,
you can just be someone that drank for 25 of 31 days in December and
yeah.
decided
Decided to
so
say enough's enough. Yeah.
they I did read that the idea of setting intentions mirrors that of setting a large goal, in the sense that you also can create smaller intentions that incorporate that larger intent. So each day that you're practicing those small things, you are moving closer to the large goal. And this I very much connect back to the business sense, right? Where you'll set they call this goal cascading. So let's say as an organization, you set your organizational goals that then cascade down to, well, what are your departmental goals that you then cascade down to what an individual's goals are. So in the same sense, you have your small goals and objectives that are leading you to achieving that bigger thing. So,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
yeah, using the concept of, like you said, I want to, well, let me just kick mine off. Let me just share with you. So, one of my intentions is to commit to regular exercise to improve my fitness and overall health. So, what I found about myself in 24 was that not that I didn't exercise, but I would exercise 1, maybe 2 days a week for a while, and then I'd kick it up and get 3 days in, and just no real consistency in how I did that, which I have found that when I am being more consistent in my physical health, it leads to me drinking less, eating better, sleeping better, just overall better health. So
Mm-hmm.
I, rather than say I want to lose 15 pounds, because I mean, of course I'd love to lose 15 pounds. I just thought, no, I want to, like, at the root, what really bothers me about myself, and what bothers me is how I struggle with being consistent. So I thought, I'm going to just say, all right, the month of December, you made it to the gym 1 day every week. So going forward, I'm going to try to get there 3 days, and if I
Mm-hmm.
get there 2, it's 2, but I'm going to try to do better than what I did. So that's my first intention. A commitment to regular exercise. And it could be any kind. Like, even if it's, I can't get to the gym, but I'll go for a long walk, or I'll go for a run that day, or Parker's skating coach keeps asking me to go play pickleball with her. Maybe I'll go out and play pickleball with Donna. Who knows? But that's one of my things. My second one is to increase time spent as a family, specifically limiting digital distractions and finding things to do together. So that's coming from rolling off the holidays of all the downtime and the iPad usage. Reese getting this new cell phone and her head down in her phone, and it's killing me, Dad. It's absolutely killing me. And then I find I'm doing it as well. Like, when I have a minute, I pick up my Kindle and I'm reading. Now, yes, I'm reading, but it's a digital. It's still pulling me away from my family, my friends, things I could be doing, exercise I could be doing.
Yeah.
I'm picking up that easy thing. So, focusing on increasing time spent as a family, doing things together. And then my last one is to improve communication in my relationships and work on active listening. So I want to try to be more aware, not always making sure my point is heard, but also making sure I'm hearing what my husband is saying to me, what my children are saying to me, what my dad is
Mm-hmm.
saying to me. So that's something that I want to work on, is just being more aware in my communications with my people. All right. What do you got?
Well, I'll start off with that first. I'm on your last one. It's kind of one of mine as well. I picked up and um, grabbed there's a couple things going on, but number one, I know, I am always attempting to try to see how well I do communicate with others, and you feel like you do a pretty good job, or at least you're trying to do a good job. And trying doesn't necessarily get it done, and the results or the misnomers in understanding on the other side clearly demonstrates that. So I'm with you. My intention is to as well be a more active listener instead of just a constant message giver. It's to get to really know someone requires a lot more listening than it does preaching or lecturing or giving instruction. Giving instruction is pretty easy when you have an audience to give it, but it's not really very effective all the time. So I think trying to be a better listener in order to better communicate and understand why they are not responding to what they're hearing. And that requires really getting into their head, allowing them to share their thoughts of what's not resonating in order to let me improve in changing that delivery. And I think that's one of the things that when you were talking about your percentages and your statistics and people just don't generally like change. Everybody says, "Oh, I love to do things that are new." Well, yeah, we love to, but how often do we? It's one thing to say it, but it's another thing to get out and actually do it. I want to go for the walk, or I need to go for a walk, but I'm not going to do it in 20-degree weather. And then I look out the window and somebody's walking around the block. So it can be done. But so that is one thing. I just trying to become more of an active listener and not. And in this podcast, we get to lay down what our thoughts are. Me writing this book, I get to tell everything that I want to tell somebody else that I think they need to hear, whether they want to hear it or not. So to be more active of listening to what people really want to tell me rather than taking up the airwaves and constantly delivering something that nobody may want to hear. So that's number one. I agree with that.
Like that. Love the point about change as well. Couldn't agree more.
And change has to be intentional. And I go back to some of the things that you're talking about in your health. That's really number one on my list. I feel like, and just in me talking to my coach at the end of the year and the other day of, having I felt like I was always not being accountable in that Fort Walton Beach time frame of just being outside the house. It was harder to work out. It was just, when it was cold, it was inside the bus. It wasn't being able to go outside, but there was a good walking facility. So my point in that was I maintained each and every workout through that time frame, with the exception of one, which was on Friday, pulling out, hoping to do it Saturday, arriving here late, hoping to do it yesterday, and saying, F it, I'll wait till the new
Monday.
Week tomorrow.
Yeah.
So for the first time in 5 months, I did not do a workout within the scheduled week. Now I may adjust them on different days, but as we know, like you say, going twice a week, and Dylan said, dude, you've done great. You've dropped your weight. You're fluctuating a little bit now during holiday time, but it's not anything crazy. You've proven that you can be consistent in doing what you said you were going to do. And consistency is the golden word. So my intention is to continue being consistent in the efforts that I am making. And health is number one. I've been shittily consistent. I like that word, shittily consistent in my drumming exercises. So that has to become number two, because that is something that I love to do. And yet sometimes it just feels it becomes a drudgery when you don't do it. You hold yourself.
It becomes hard. Yeah. I mean, things that are hard.
It's not that forget about it being hard. Just enjoy playing. That's my point.
Yeah,
You're not, if you don't play, you can't improve. So forget about, I think we get all wrapped up in the failure mode to say, well, I'm not going to do it, so I don't need to do it. Well, if you don't get back on the bike, like you say, if you don't go, the first is not any different than tomorrow. It's no different than the day after tomorrow.
Yep.
So totally agree with that. But consistency and intentional for that. So And Suzanne and I talked about this before we left. We kind of sat down on New Year's Day and threw down some personal development goals. And we're big on our devotionals every day, and we've been we're really
Mhm.
good at that when we're at home. We tend to be spot off and on when we're away from home, and it's not that we don't have them; they're right there. But we always enjoy getting up and reading the devotional and just talking about it and visiting with each and ourselves and how we've done better or how we've not paid attention to certain things, and just we get inspired that on the start of each day. So that has
I
been
like that.
good for us. And again, we need to be more consistent with that in travel. And it's not like the book, or we don't take that
Hmm.
with us. It's just you're busy doing other things, and so many things are going on that you just, you're worried about getting to the beach, worried about taking 10 minutes to devote
Yeah.
it to, reading a
It's just
devotional and talking
a,
about it.
a change to the norm gives you that excuse to not do something, and even
Right.
something you like doing. And it's really interesting. I feel I would love to know the psychology behind that, but just why we do that. It's not doing that thing we know makes us feel better physically or mentally, just because the day is different, or
Yeah.
the location, the atmosphere, the environment. But that's, I hear you, and I like that. I like that.
Well, you're away from, like you say, you're away from your normal routine, but you can't be on vacation 12 months a year,
Well,
and just because
unless you're
you're
Kevin
on
McClintock.
vacation, and yeah, and even being on vacation doesn't mean that you don't have to do what you still need to do in order to be healthy and get up and get your workout in and
Yeah.
follow good diet practices and drink your water. I mean, all those things have made such an influence on my life in only the last 5 months, soon to be 6 months in February, that it, it's it's encouraged me to say a little bit of change, has made the world a difference of
Yeah.
just how I feel and blood pressure and medications and all those things. So
Well, and
well
especially
worth it.
it's important for anyone, but and not to put that on this on you, but as you are getting older, it's very
Hmm.
impressive that you have lost weight and you are becoming more active. I mean, these are all things that are going to make you feel better as you continue to age and
Yeah.
be mobile and be your brain health, all these things. It's all great. So, well, I'd like, share, write, email me your intentions. I want to have them, both of ours, in
Okay.
writing. I think
I'll do it.
I might do
I've got
something
them written
fun with
here.
that. Yeah.
Uh huh.
But I like that. I'm excited. I think it's interesting that two of ours were basically the same. So
Hmm.
that's not a bad thing. Well, I wanted to read a couple of these because these are, I found these in my research too, and I thought you'd get a kick out of these. Obviously, these are silly people, but like these are some intentions that I read. This person said, I intend to perfect the art of napping and aim for the perfect 20-minute power nap without feeling like I've just been hit by a truck. And one, I loved that. And two, it is true. And I think this is an age thing. As I get older, if I do happen to take a nap, it's almost worse than if I just stayed awake, Like I wake up from a nap and I feel just shitty. I'm so tired. Do you find
I've
that when you
always,
nap?
I've not at age. I've always felt that way with
Oh, you
napping.
have?
I hate taking a nap just because I don't feel good thereafter. I don't. It just
Well, I
kind
guess
of.
it's like as when you're a young parent with young children that nap, you see them, and I just remember Reese would wake up from her naps in that crib of hers, and she just pop up, and you'd walk in, and she just wave at you like, "I'm here, come and get me." I'm ready to keep this train rolling. And she was always just so happy when she would wake up from a nap. But
It's a new
um,
day, midday.
all right, I like this one too. I'm going to level up my cooking skills this year, starting with making the world's most gourmet instant ramen. And I'm a little embarrassed to say there's been a lot of ramen eating in the Edwards household lately. Like the
Oh
kids,
lordy.
the kids love it and it's easy. So Chris and I have been like, just make some ramen. And I'm like, I gotta stop. I have to stop buying this shit because we just keep eating it, and
Yep.
it's just not good.
I know where you get
Um,
that shit.
Oh, Costco.
Yep. Yep. They got the ramen aisle down there.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they do. Yeah, they do. One more. I liked this one. It said, "I'm going to avoid going to the gym with elegance, perhaps by turning my living room into a yoga studio where I only perform stretches while watching Netflix." And I was like, it's not a bad idea. I need to
Not
stretch
really.
more.
Not really.
I could stretch more. I could definitely work on that.
Yeah.
I yeah. Anyways, well, I enjoyed sharing that with you, Dad.
Yep. It's
That was
fun.
good stuff. Yeah.
That was good research. Good little R&R there.
And now you know. Now you know where resolutions got their start 4,000
Mm-hmm.
years ago.
That's amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing.
All right. Well, have you had dinner yet? On that note, have you had your dinner yet?
I have not. It's been the first Monday back at the first of the year, and it seems like I've been nonstop since about up at 5:30, working at 6, and I don't feel like I got done nearly as much as I needed to. So I'm behind, and I haven't done my workout today, so I need to go up there and try to get that done.
Well, get it done. You'll feel better. Then you'll be back on track.
Yep.
I'll be at the gym tomorrow for my
Yeah.
Tuesday workout. Yep. I'm going to
What
do
time
it.
do you do that? Do you do
I
that
usually
after
go
work or?
I usually go at noon to the gym. So that's the other
Yeah.
thing too, is just on the days I can't make it because of work. I just need to be good about I have all the stuff down in the basement. I just got to go down there and do it, you know?
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
free weights, I've got kettlebells, I got all that jazz. So no excuse. No excuse.
Okay. All righty. Well,
All right, Dad.
have a
We'll get
good
yourself
week.
some
Yep.
dinner and yeah, enjoy your first week back in Nash Vegas.
Yep.
And we'll talk
I
soon.
think I told you. Yeah. I think I
What?
told you Selinsky's are coming in for the weekend.
Yeah,
Joe
enjoy
and
that.
Tammy. Yeah. Yep.
Enjoy that.
Okay, hon. Have a good day. Have a good night. Tell everybody hello. And hope Chris doesn't spend too much time with those daggone trading cards.
I hope he does. I love you.
All right. Love you.
Thank you for tuning in today. With so many podcasts out there, we are grateful you chose to spend your time with us.
And we'd love to hear from you. So send us your questions, comments, and feedback to info@twoclicksinapod.com, and we might feature your message in a future episode.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social and head over to our YouTube channel where you can watch the full episode live and in living color. You can find us at 2 Clicks in a Pod. That's 2, as in the number, clicks in a pod.
Well, James, until next time, love you.
Love you too, Daddy.